she's laying in bed and I'm sitting on the floor with the lights out, and I go, Meryl, I don't want to be an engineer. I had tried to get out of the School of Engineering Physics, but it was so prestigious, I guess. People who were in the physics department at Cornell would try like midway through to get into engineering physics. And so they administratively closed the back door. Well, I couldn't get out now. So I finished my degree, and then I just kind of went on a spiritual quest. And I hang this degree on my wall and just look at it and feel stupid. I was involved in an urban church, and all these people would come up to me and start talking about stuff. And I was kind of blown away. And they would come back to me later and say how thankful they were for what I said. No idea what I said. No idea what was helpful to them. So I just decided, well, I'll go become a psychologist.
Hi, Robert Hartline here with the Music City Work Club, and I have a member spotlight, Dr. Doug Herr. How are you doing, bud?
I'm really feeling good right now.
Yeah, we should. We just so everybody knows, I'll put maybe or maybe not.
Oh no,
it's
got to go at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we danced for like a whole 5 minutes, and man, every time I dance, I'm like feeling so freaking good.
Yeah.
You know that back in the day when I used to drink, there was a moment where drinking felt good, you know, and you felt like great. Mm-hmm. We can do that in freaking dance.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The whole intention of yoga is that you would be able within your own self to, I don't want to say control how you feel, but to create the happiness you desire.
So Doug, tell us about you.
Okay. Can you be more specific?
Well, first off, I know you do lots of things and you help lots of people. We're going to certainly talk about that, but I just want to know you as a human. What are you all about?
Yeah. Well, I'm. Gosh, that's been kind of a question I've been asking my whole life too. I've always wanted to do something good in the world, and I've never trusted derivative thinking. So I've always gone for, like, what's the most basic, most important thing here? So when I got started, I thought I felt like my most powerful gift was math. So I went and got an engineering physics degree, and that was quite an experience, but it taught me a lot about analytical thinking and pushing myself, which is awesome, but it also left my heart out of the equation. And
wait, tell me about that moment where you spent all that energy learning and then discovering that you don't want to be in that field.
Well, it was actually, so I went to Cornell. I started out freshman year, first week, Meryl, I was in this old sophomore in college because I was the little freshman. So she was my adoptive Jewish mother, like from day one. And she's laying in bed and I'm sitting on the floor with the lights out, and I go, Meryl, I don't want to be an engineer. And so I knew it, but then I was so controlled by fear. I did not know who I was supposed to be in the world, and I knew I was good at math, so I picked the field that made the most sense to me. And engineering physics I picked because we were just studying reality, not the latest technology. You know, the technology we were studying back then is, of course, completely gone.
Right.
But the physics is still the same, and that's what I wanted. And when I got done with Cornell, and I realized, like, there's no way I was going to be an engineer. I had tried to get out of the School of Engineering Physics, but it was so prestigious, I guess. People who were in the physics department at Cornell would try, like, midway through to get into engineering physics. And so they administratively closed the back door. Well, I couldn't get out now. So I finished my degree, and then I just kind of went on a spiritual quest. I was really depressed. I had about 7 nervous twitches. And I hang this degree on my wall and just look at it and feel stupid because I had no idea what now. And finally, I was involved in an urban church, and all these people would come up to me and start talking about stuff. And I was kind of blown away. And they would come back to me later and say how thankful they were for what I said. No idea what I said. No idea what was helpful to them. So I just decided, well, I'll go become a psychologist. So got my doctorate in that, and it wasn't really everything I needed. During the course of my doctorate, I was diagnosed with ADHD. My therapist was like, yeah, your life just seems too hard, Doug. I think you have ADHD. This was very traumatizing. By the way, info dump is my love language, so if you want to bust in and break it up and change direction, feel welcome.
No, this is good.
Okay.
This is good.
When somebody told me that I needed to take medication for my brain, I'm not kidding, man. I went home, went to sleep that night, and I had this dream that I took a knife and just put it into my...
Wow.
Because I was like, oh my God, I can't trust my brain.
Wow.
It was a very...
But not from an angle like it was a gift.
No.
Because I think a lot of people like me, I look at it as a gift.
What?
The ADHD. I look at it as a superpower, you know.
Yeah.
But you didn't have that perspective. That's interesting.
I was okay. So ADHD, I would say, if we have ADHD as an identity, it's a problem because ADHD is a diagnosis. Okay, what we really are is neurodivergent. That's the identity that's a superpower. Being neurodivergent is awesome. You know, there's the normal curve of how everybody is, and we're not in the middle. We're way off to the edge. So we see things differently, and that's key. We bring something different to life that other people don't. And it's unique to each of us. And I feel like, you know, sometimes we can wear our hearts on our sleeves, and that can be really hard, but it can also give us the incentive to try and correct the direction the mob is headed, you know? I feel like we're the canary in the coal mine sometimes.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think anything gets created in this world without this group of people.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, honestly, we're the individuals, we're the unique sense of humor, creative. Yeah, and I think everybody has a little of that. We just have a lot. And sometimes that can really hurt us because, you know, if you have one good idea, you can make a business out of it. But if you have 50, right?
Well, welcome to my life.
Yeah. I mean, me too. I was all over the place. So, you know, I started in engineering physics, realized I had no interest in that, became a psychologist, worked with a lot of different people in many different contexts. And then was at Vanderbilt working with the integrative medical unit there, and which is now called the Osher Center. It was Vanderbilt Center for Integrative Health, and that's the Osher Center for Integrative Medicine. Anyway, the stuff I learned there was about the nervous system, and oddly enough, I learned about all kinds of things, but not about ADHD. I was just powering through life, and powering through life with ADHD isn't always the best tactic.
But there's medicine for that. You're supposed to take the medicine.
Yeah, I dissociated on that medicine. Like, seriously, I was really focused.
You had that. Oh no, you got diagnosed. You take this. Here, just take this and be done with it.
Yeah, bad. I mean, that happened to me in the 90s. Okay, and we had Ritalin then, which was great. I mean, it did help me to focus. I just forgot who I was, and I was taking it during graduate school, so it kind of messed me up. During Christmas break, I stopped taking it. I thought, oh, I'll take a medication vacation, you know? And I felt myself like, oh my God, here I am again. And then I didn't take any medication.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Your body knows.
Now, here's the thing. During the time that I was at Vanderbilt, there was all kinds of research going on. I was just looking in a different direction. Like, I was studying the nervous system, but ADHD, which is also part of the nervous system, was becoming more well understood as a set of executive function issues. It actually has nothing to do with a deficit of attention. We have difficulties directing our awareness. But all of this information, which affects working memory, it affects time awareness, all kinds of things. All of that became something that until just recently I knew nothing about. And so I was pushing. And I want to get back to RSD on that because that's one of the most important innovations in this field, I think.
Explain. I've never heard that.
Okay, RSD. Yeah, okay, so we'll leave that thread. I have trouble letting go of a thread. But so RSD is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Okay, so when you're neurodivergent, as we've discussed, like you have sensitivities. Sensitivities are just acute awarenesses. And those sensitivities can be a superpower or a nightmare. Like if you're a burn victim and someone just touches you, right? It's incredibly painful. That's what high sensitivity can mean. So my high sensitivity, I was very busy protecting. So I was kind of, trying to be Superman and make sure everything worked right and do good by everybody. And I always felt like I'm going to be fine, so that doesn't matter. So I didn't really focus on taking care of myself. And therein lies the problem. So sensitivities are good, but in the rough and tumble world, there's no safe spaces where I live. So, something happens and you get hurt by it. And with ADHD, you do have more thoughts rolling all the time than other people. And I had, this is not just personal to me. Most people with ADHD struggle with RSD. And it's kind of it's a big deal that isn't part of the diagnosis. But the rejection is a story you tell yourself, right? Most people, I hope, are aware that if you do something, it doesn't make me feel anyway. You do something, and then I tell myself a story about why you did it. Either you love me, you hate me, you don't respect me, and then I feel something. So the story I tell myself, if it's rooted in fear, and at a very young part of the brain, it becomes a rejection story. And that rejection story gets rehearsed over and over and over relentlessly by the ADHD brain. And that becomes dysphoria, which is a Greek word for this kind of anguish that just resides with you. Some people have, so much of this, it's just really painful.
And it's really a meaning-making machine. You're just creating meaning out of every interaction, and then like turning it on. So if it was a rejection, like I do sales training and I help people sell and face rejection, and it often just one or two rejections will kill someone's entire sales career because they think they're not worthy.
Yeah,
and it's
that is a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I don't even believe it. Rejection is almost not even a real thing. Like if for me to reject you, that means I have to really deeply understand and know you. And if I'm rejecting you, what I make up is I probably don't even know you.
Right.
So what does it even mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But meaning-making machine, 100%, there's two sources of that. One is the amygdala, which is your fight or flight. That makes meanings out of fear-based things to keep you safe in the future so you don't have to think about it anymore, which is a problem, right? Because if I were a salamander, that would work great. If I live my life maybe on the size of this table, and everything's always the same. So what I learned yesterday applies tomorrow. But what I learned as an 8-year-old in my family, because one day mom was tired and snapped at me, that means nothing. It doesn't even mean anything to my mom, who's lovely and loves me. It's just a matter of now, my brain has that in the background. If I made a big deal out of it, that big meaning from the amygdala, I want my life to be meaningless when it comes to the amygdala. I want it to be meaning that's created from the heart. That's the other source. This is the I know who I am place. Most Westerners now identify, if I say, well, where are you? We think in our heads. But in every ancient tradition, it's the heart. And it turns out that's true. The heart directs the brain much more than the other way around.
Well, how do you help someone who's living in their head to go live in their heart?
Well, you know, your heart, oddly enough, is in your body. So, like this
Yes.
dancing, that gets you right out of your head.
Yeah, 100%.
And the biggest trick is, if I have a painful thought, that always does something to my body. Pain happens in my body. If I have a fearful thought, that fear is happening in my body. So what I want is to be able, oddly enough, so like if you're in a dark alley and someone's coming at you with a knife, your fear response is what? Like run away. That's the best trick.
Fight.
Right. Well, yeah, but
You may have to fight.
you may have to, but the good martial arts guy will say, first thing is run away.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And when it's inside you, the attack is the opposite. And it's not fight, it's embrace, right? So when I have a painful, scary thought, I want to instantly say, what's my body awareness right now? That's the way out of your head is the way into your body. And the more that I can sit with my body, the more that my brain will regulate itself the right way. Reducing RSD, reducing self-criticism is the biggest symptom of RSD. Pessimism regarding other people or circumstances, but mostly what I hear from people is incredible, intense self-critical thinking. And they know it's not fair. It's not coming from a rational place. It's coming from the amygdala. And the amygdala is not rational. It just says, hey, this could be dangerous. So let's freak out this dude until he, makes sure to never go there again.
But how does this, like, it's so funny when I know this to be true, but when I'm, I have the awareness of this right now. So in the next 5 minutes, just imagine I had this, I could probably go back, but tomorrow is a brand new day and I have this anxiety that appears. Why can I not remember what you just told me?
Because in the 60s, when psychedelics emerged, and there was this Timothy Leary, I think, said, a mind once expanded cannot be contracted.
Yeah.
He was totally wrong. It happens every day.
Yeah.
Like in 5 minutes after that wonderful dance, if we go back into our heads, we can just contract our awareness again.
And just totally forget the dance was there.
And this is why we need spiritual practices or psychological practices, however you want to call it.
What is a spiritual practice for you? What does that look like?
Well, it's always evolving. Like I have a heavy background in Christian religion. I've got some indigenous practices where I was on desert islands. You should go to desert island for a week and interact with nature. Yoga. I think, I first realized the power of yoga is it's really all about your mind. And, obviously you're manipulating your body, but it's for the purpose of making your mind, people think it's, I need to make my body strong and flexible. No, you need to make your mind strong and flexible.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of yoga.
Well, I think it's also another thing that I learned from my breathwork coach is one cannot do and think of two things at once. And when you're getting into a yoga pose, there's a bit of mind focusing on moving your body in that particular pose, which keeps your mind from worrying about that conversation you had with your mom 2 days ago.
Right.
And it kind of forces you to, and that's I think that's why breath work is a practice. Now, a lot of people, what do you feel about meditation? Because a lot of people struggle with that. And it's also
so many people with ADHD think, I can't meditate. I have these thoughts come. That's crazy. No, meditation should be normal. It is alien to our culture, right? We have forgotten meditation. Meditation isn't just something from Buddhism. If you look at the esoteric sects of Christianity, the highest levels of spirituality, it's always all about meditation.
Oh, that's what Jesus was doing. Yeah. I mean, but in organized religion, there's churches in Nashville right now that will tell you if you go and meditate, you're going to invite
The devil into your head. Yeah, I've heard it. Absolutely.
yeah, and that is so toxic for our culture because
Yeah.
how are you ever going to really know who you are unless you quiet the noise and close your eyes for a minute and go within?
Well, and
How
even,
do you know?
Yeah, no, you don't. I mean, honestly, and even more than that, like most of my life. So April 3rd, 2024, I had a big change. I was trying to, I had actually resigned my psychology license because I studied ontological coaching, which is about not just getting different results, but to get different results, you take different actions, right? But how do you make those different actions normal for you rather than just something your coach comes and tells you? Well, you have to learn to see it differently. So you change the observer. You become a new observer, you will take new action. You will get new results, right? And now I forgot where I was going with that.
No, this is. But it was talking about meditation.
Oh, right,
and-
meditation. So meditation changes the quality of awareness that you bring to every situation, and that is the key to life. So I think about, like, what is the most important thing in life? And I would have to say what your awareness is focused on and the quality of awareness that you bring to it. And that's why, like, yoga has asana, right? Which technically means not just moving the body into a series of positions, which is what people think of as asana. No, it's unusual positions. Why? Because if I do that same move over and over again, eventually I'll start thinking about that conversation with my mom. Because I know how to do this. I don't have to pay attention to this movement anymore. When I'm doing my downward dog. I've done it too many times. My yoga teacher needs to come in and give me a new meditation. Yoga is just a body meditation, right? So once I'm moving into unusual positions again, now I have to pay attention in a deeper way. And that helps me to let go of all that noise and brings me to the quiet into my body and, expanding either my strength or my flexibility or whatever it is.
So you mentioned this type of coaching. Is that something you have woven into your practice going forward now?
Oh yeah. Ontological coaching is all about creating a future, a desired future, by learning how to see life differently. And it's kind of the missing piece from what I was taught as a therapist. I was taught mostly to be empathic with people in their deepest pain, which is good. And I would, for me, not good enough. People who have ADHD often don't do well in traditional therapy. We need a more coaching-based way of doing things. What we really need is to figure out, how can I take action today that will bring about the future I want? I don't know. To me, this is like really common sense and basic and necessary for everyone. But I was taught kind of neo-Freudian thought, which I don't want to mock entirely because it's exquisite, but it's very inefficient. I spent 7 years on a couch.
I remember seeing this clip that it was a clip from the 90s, and they're interviewing all these therapists, and it said, "Can you tell me a client that is solved their problems?" And they all say no. And I think it goes to the theory that you need something. There's action needed from the individual. The individual has to do the work. I mean,
right.
If I come to you every single week and tell you my problems, I am programming myself to talk about my problems. And what happens when I focus on problems? More problems.
Well, hang on though. This is where coaching comes in.
Right.
Because if you're focused on a problem, then what I want to do is talk about how are we going to solve that problem this week.
Right.
And then when you start solving those problems, you start to feel like higher self-esteem.
Yeah, confidence.
It feels good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels good to kick it,
And so what do you think the first step for when you're working on a new client and they are this stuck, how do you get, because I've always imagined, like when I coach somebody, and I'm coaching more business, but it really is coaching themselves. It's because we are in
It's
the way.
always, it goes
We
back
are in
to
the way.
identity. Yeah.
And it's just like the awareness of the language that any individual is saying. Just like I'm just acutely aware of how the words come out of their mouths and how they describe things,
Yeah.
which are in fact embodying this self-limiting thing that is actually the thing that's in the way. And just getting someone to realize that they're saying things out loud that's enhancing this programming that's already embodied in their body. Like, because don't you feel like a lot of what you're doing, what you're helping them do is like, all right, you got this computer and you got bad code. How do we upgrade you?
First thing is, I really only work with people I like, love, and like, right? If I don't feel connected to someone and like I care about them, which I usually feel that way about everybody, so it doesn't really matter. But that's just basic. Like, if I don't find this person fascinating, I'm probably not the right person for them, because I want them to feel like valuable, cherished, nurtured, seen. I want them to feel seen. And so that's the most basic thing. There's got to be a connection. And then I want to start working with them on RSD, which is basically my amygdala overactivation and running the show. It keeps me from being centered and grounded in myself. It keeps me from looking inward. If I'm experiencing RSD as my way of getting through life, which was how I lived for, I would say, yea, verily, 60 years, right? That puts you in a place of always trying to make sure everything's okay out there. And then you don't have the bandwidth to say, well, what about in here, right? So really, the first thing I want someone to learn is how to trust themselves and go deeper into who they are. And this is not to say they're not going to make mistakes and have problems. They're going to make higher quality mistakes and have higher quality problems, right? The mistakes that you make along the road of learning to trust yourself are the mistakes that you make learning to create the life you desire. The other option is masking, which ADHDs are famous for. You know, I'm creating all the skills I need to have a life that isn't really fulfilling, because there's no way that I can be holding a wall up and let all the love in, you know, let all the joy. I mean, really, love and joy is our deepest nature. And it's just a matter of staying connected to that deepest place in ourselves while we solve all these problems. And when we get scared about it, we get in our heads, we leave our hearts, and everything goes badly. When we can say, okay, I can feel my fear and reconnect with my heart, that's confidence, right? Like, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of your heart. That's what makes all the difference.
Well, how do you work with someone who just doesn't love themselves?
Yeah, that's like, well, you know,
That's, I mean, because that's the deepest of the deep.
right.
And, you know, I've heard this.
And this is not a new problem. Right?
Well, no, of course. I mean, and I've heard this before. It's like, there is no way to experience true love unless you truly love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you don't really get the ability to feel what true love is.
Right.
And love is this connection. Like even like you're talking about being connected with someone that you use the word fascinated, but
yeah,
I think I can walk in a park and see a dad holding hands with his 5-year-old daughter and feel that love.
100%.
And I can walk by and just like feel, it's like almost like I'm getting energetically charged, like even witnessing it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wow, I can carry this with me. And then if I see someone that's suffering, I can like, can I give them some of I got some extra love here. You want some? Like, and energetically in my mind, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And in my body, I feel like I'm expressing it.
That's a practice.
Yeah.
That's called an informal practice. It's great for people with ADHD because, like, sitting on a cushion, like, you know, meditation is great. But what I used to do, like, meditate for an hour in the morning and then it by, you know, like, you know how, like those big trucks, they have like 15 gears, you know, they have double axles and they have all these different, I feel like I'd go, okay, I meditated this morning in first gear and now I'm in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth.
You don't take it with you.
That meditation has no impact on me is what it feels like. Just none, right? I've left. And so what I believe is important for us is informal practice. Like as I walk through the day, I see, you know, my guy over there and I'm like, I want to send him some love. That's a compassion practice, right? I want to, okay, so here's a space practice. This is really good for people with ADD, really good for anyone. But if I'm looking at you, you know, and we're connected, but I want to have the most grounded and calm presence I can have, what I want to do is focus on the space between you and me. This, oddly enough, it's not effort to be loving, it's just groundedness. And spatial meditation is very powerful. It creates what's called alpha wave synchronicity in your brain. Your whole brain just like starts working together just when you do the simple things. So like you have to, of course, it's just like an asana. You have to keep changing it up. So I like to use my voice as a practice as well. And so I'll focus here. I trained for like 20 years vocally because I just love singing so much. But like if I put my focus on my ribs right here and I focus on the distance between my fingertips, right? That's a spatial focus. And it's right at my lungs. So it really helps me with my breath, right? To be in a more grounded place. And then I can go down to my hips, right? And again, whenever you're talking about your body, like you want the air going all the way down and coming all the way up, right? That's what makes it juicy. Your whole body is like an antenna.
It is an antenna.
Thank you. It is an antenna. It receives and it sends.
Yes.
And this is the other part is, you know, the way the brain works, being ADHD, being neurodivergent, we are different and we can experience life as less validating, right? As a kid, people with ADD, I don't know, 100,000 more negative experiences by the age of 10 or something. I don't know the data, but I know it's like that crazy. It's crazy. So all of this negativity can amp up the RSD, but it can also be a situation where, you know, you can be like the star of the play and the leader of the band. So you have these extremes, and just pulling that all together in yourself and being a coherent self involves, for me, I think it involves being a few different people.
Well, it can be that, but it also like, I guarantee you someone's listening to this could learn, they can just take a moment in their mind and be in their heart and express that gratitude or love and experience it right now. Like we could literally, we have the power to experience whatever we want to experience. And
the problem is we don't have the habit.
I know it's I know,
But the
we
habit-
forget. But
like-
we forget. That's the forgetting piece of this whole equation. Like,
Yeah, the habit piece of your brain is incredibly powerful. 95% of the power is in unconscious habit. So unless you can train your unconscious to be in alignment with your conscious mind, you're just not going to be as fulfilled and successful.
well, I want to really lean into that. Train your unconscious mind to be in alignment with your conscious mind.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you my biggest secret weapon, besides relationship, right, which is just loving people. The other one, so the model I explained to you from ontological coaching was, you know, if you want different results, you take different actions, but if you want different actions, you need to be a different observer. So that's called the OAR model, OAR. Well, I put an R in front of it that's ritual. If you want to change your mind and body relationship and make it more heart-centered, religion has been using rituals for millennia to shape people's lives. I just decided to use neuroscience and create it with like you as the sacred center of the ritual. And if you know, like if you're Christian, this should totally make sense because you are the image of God. You don't have to go looking out there somewhere, right? If there's something divine in your life, it starts in your heart. So a ritual, I will take someone and like, let's say, I'll take myself. Okay, this is what happened on April 3rd on 2024 is I completely gave up on the business I was trying to create. I was trying to work with doctors and they weren't responding. I've worked with hundreds of doctors, okay? So I thought, well, I should work with doctors. It's all kinds of good reasons I can come up with. And when I was sitting on my couch, I was like, I've been trying to do this for years, marketing to doctors. It's not working. I give up. Oof, now what? I have no plan B. The only thing it's like, well, it's not failure until you quit. It's like, maybe. Maybe it's failure because you haven't quit when you should have. I got to the most important coaching question you can ever get to because I had no idea what I should do. So I finally asked myself, well, what do I want to do?
I knew that question was coming.
Yeah.
Because it's the most important question.
It is. The Spice Girls. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. It's really, I mean, and it was
What
like,
was the answer?
I want to get to the gym more regularly. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. I know how to do this. I've just studied the neuroscience of habit formation. And so what I did wasn't go to the gym. I did 25 push-ups because I wanted to create a system where every day, without fail, for 45 days, this is how you install an app in an adult nervous system, okay? Our nervous system is already wired in. We're past adolescence. There's no changing the operating system. Maybe psychedelics. That's a different conversation. Pardon me. But I think psychedelics more just uninstall old apps. But installing a new app, that takes effort. And so what I did is I created, it's a linguistic behavioral ritual. And so I would say, okay, I'm doing this 25 push-ups because I value my body. Now, that's not the sexiest thing you can do. Like, I value my body is a little bit abstract. So you probably need to say, like, I want to be sexy. I want to be fast. I want to look good. I want to be healthy. No, healthy is abstract. I want to live to my 90s and see my kid get old. That's real, right? The abstract stuff isn't as powerful. I say, okay, I'm doing this because I'm committed to living a long life. Within half a second, as per Pavlov, right? Pavlov's dogs. He rings a bell, they salivate. Half a second. As soon as I've made my declarations, I do my push-ups. As soon as I do my push-ups, I make another declaration. I did it. It's finished. I did it because I'm becoming someone who is healthy. And, I'm becoming someone who, is healthy enough to live till my 90s or something like that. When you make these declarations, the structure of it is, I'm committed to doing this because, and then I do it, and then I did it because. Well, what happens here is you're making a declaration of commitment to a behavior for yourself. It's always self-care. And that commitment you then keep instantly. Your brain just watch you keep a commitment to yourself. There's no reason for that except for that you are someone who is worthy of keeping a commitment to. This changes how we feel.
I love this idea of installing an app.
Yeah.
Because it makes so much sense. I mean,
Yeah.
and it makes so much sense to think of us as these computers, and we can upgrade an operating system. I always say that, I have a group I gather every quarter. We come together, and I look at it like, this is Robert 2.3. in the last quarter, I grew in these areas.
Mm-hmm.
And when I start hearing other people talking about how they've grown in other areas, I'm like, I want that new app
Yeah.
in my new operating system.
Yeah.
But it does take work. And it's not just one thought. It's it's
Well, I want to suggest it's the thought. I verbalize them out loud. I do the behavior, and I do it every day. And there's one more component. I include someone. Like when I started doing this, I just started texting my friend every time I did it because it was a win.
yeah.
And it's interesting because the neuroscience that I studied said, in 45 days, you can basically create a habit. But in 10 days, I felt so much better and I couldn't understand why. That was before I understood RSD. This completely counters RSD. All this, crazy stuff happening in your head that's all amygdala involved. It's all threat-based. The more that you invest in spending time in your body, that goes against being threat-based. The way your brain works, it's like if you have a feeling, it can resolve in 90 seconds or 50 years or so. It all depends. Like if you just let yourself have the experience of that feeling and you pay deep attention to it, reverential attention to it, it will resolve. Wow. If you start trying to fix it, it'll take you 50 years.
Wow. So I'm
a fixer. So
there we go. So
I'm on the
how
slow
would one
train.
tell me who your ideal client is and how would they reach out to you?
Well, my ideal client is, we didn't even talk about this, but one of the most important things about ADHD is emotional dysregulation or emotional differentness. Those spiky emotional energy bursts that come, like I was in a conversation once at Vanderbilt with he's now the director of Osher Center, and the other guy was my yoga teacher who they've flown in from San Francisco. And I'm standing there and suddenly I start crying. No reason whatsoever. Now, I'm not talking sobbing, but my eyes are just like, boof.
Yeah.
And why? Well, I emotionally dysregulated in the middle of some conversation for, I don't know why. That emotional dysregulation can lead to real insecurity and feel strange. It leads to identity issues. RSD compounds that and makes the identity issues really impossible to fix until you fix the RSD. RSD isn't a new thing for ADHD. It was actually part of what they discovered helped keep personality problems, like made you stay stuck. RSD makes you stay stuck. The people who recognize problems with, emotional connection, their sense of self, and their ADHD, like those are my people. And I'm on Psychology Today, but probably the best thing is just to call me. I don't know, is it appropriate to give a phone number?
Absolutely. Why not?
Okay. 615-397-3304.
And how would they email you?
drdugher@gmail.com.
Amazing.
But given that I'm ADHD and I sign up for way too much junk online, and I have, 100 new emails every day, just text me.
There you go.
I keep my texts clean,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for bringing your energy into the space.
Well, thank you for creating this wonderful space. I mean, this has been, it's not just a co-work space, it's a community space. And it's a community of, I feel like are my people. So I really appreciate you for doing that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Listen, if you're in Nashville and you're looking for a place to belong and you're a creator, you're a driven leader, you're an entrepreneur, and you want to be around your people, I want you to visit musiccityworkclub.com. You can see our events. You can see how our space is a place for you to create your vision and help step forward in what you're meant to become. Thanks for watching and hope you have a great rest of your day.